Hello and welcome to the Albion Obsessed podcast. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about the pre-season game that happened at the weekend against Estoril. Apologies that it's taken a few days to get this content to you. We've just been very busy and dying in this intense heat. And talking of dying in this intense heat, Joe, how are you getting on, mate? How are you feeling?
Melting, absolutely melting. Although me and the wife invested in an air conditioning unit, which has been an absolute blooming lifesaver. So the lounge is beautiful. The bedroom, which I'm sat in right now, boiling, and you can probably hear the white noise of the fans. Yeah, I'm not having much fun, but let's crack on anyway.
It's certainly as hot as balls out there. Kurtis, how are you getting on with this heat, mate? How are you coping?
Yeah, you're not too bad, mate. Actually, yeah, it's good. I'm coping, as you can see. No, it's okay. You know, like I said, I've got my spray water bottle of freezing cold water. I've got 4 fans going, because I live in a sort of like a top floor flat, so all the heat just.
Yeah, I feel you there, buddy. And 4 fans, rest in peace, your electricity bill.
Yes, yeah, very much so. But otherwise, great.
Good. I'm glad you're all doing well, guys, especially in this heat. I know we joke about it, but it is it is very hot out there. So, listeners,
But how are you, Tom? You had a red warning, did you not?
yes,
Yeah,
yes, we did.
Tom, how are you?
I am warm. I'm very toasty. Today, it's been so hot that my school decided that it was okay for me to have my tattoos out. So I've basically worn this to work.
Also, by the way, happy birthday to Tom for yesterday. By the way,
Happy birthday.
can I get it in the comments,
you.
please, everybody? He was 41 years old.
I was not. I was 33. I know I don't know. I know I don't act like it. I know sometimes I act like a 60-year-old man and a 21-year-old all at the same time. But no, I was 33. My birthday was lovely. Thank you. It was very warm. As I say, it might not sound like a big deal for like a school to say, "Oh yeah, you can show your tattoos," but like in modern day thing, that's like such a no. And it might seem quite an outdated thing. I know we're sort of like digressing completely, but no, so it's a pretty big thing to say. It's that hot. You can have your tattoos out as long as they're not like offensive, which none of mine are, so it's all good. But no, it's been very hot. The red warning is in effect. I think at one point in my classroom today, it did peak at just over 40 degrees. And as you can imagine, with a class full of children, that wasn't so fun. But as our good friend the Brighton Bard said, it won't be long before I'm standing in front of my class with 3 jumpers on, complaining that it's too cold. But anyway, we digress, as we often, or as I often like to do on this show. So let's bring it back then to our pre-season game that happened in Portugal over the weekend versus Estoril. How my hands up and say it's not a team I know much about. But it was definitely a good run out for the boys. So, Joe, let's start with the starting 11, because when we looked at it, we thought it was very close to what we presumed to be what our first team is. So I'm just going to read it out to you guys. Started with Sanchez in goal, a back 3 of Cucurella, Dunk and Veltman, 2 holding midfielders in Caicedo and McAllister, with Trossard and March as wing backs. Then Gross in the hole as a number 10, and then Maupay and Welbeck up top. So, Joe, you sent us that graphic through on the group chat as it happened. Do you think that is as close as we can expect to see our starting 11, and in only our second preseason game as well?
Yeah, we spoke to Matt about whether a manager will know that early on, etc. And he said that they'll always have it in mind. Maybe a little bit too early to really confirm whether that will be the team that we see. But just based on how strong that team was, it was a really strong team, and I actually wouldn't be too disappointed if that is the team that runs out against Man United in the first game. Obviously, long time to go. Long time to go in the window as well. Hopefully, we can add 1 or 2 more. I'm not really sure that we need that extra attacking option. I think we'll be okay with what we do have. I know a lot of people will sort of get on my back for saying that, but honestly, I really feel like we should give Enciso the chance. We should give Undav the chance, and then maybe in January, if they're not cutting the mustard, then we get somebody else in. But I'm quite happy with it, to be honest, Tom.
I'm inclined to agree with you, mate. Kurtis, what were your thoughts on the 11 that Graham Potter put out at the start of that game?
I'm really just to echo what Joe was saying, to be honest. I thought it was pretty solid and whatnot. I thought, everyone looked really good. And even on the second half, when everyone else came on, I thought it was a good togetherness. Everyone looked like they worked very well together. It was good to see some of the players that we don't see that much of. It was good to see Mitoma. It was good to see, Undav scoring as well. But just all these other players, it was good to see them. But ultimately, I was happy with that 11. Sorry to veer off topic, but
not at all, mate. Not at all. Just pretty much echoing what you both said. I think that is a very strong 11. I think the only question mark that you might put there is just about whether we do replace Bissouma, who that might be, if that is in fact on the cards at all, and whether that would mean McAllister played in the number 10 instead of Gross. But it is worth saying, Joe, that I thought McAllister actually did a really good job playing in that deeper role. And we've said on this podcast before, Graham Potter loves a bit of versatility. So do you think this is a role that, McAllister can adapt to and become more of I suppose, a number 8 than a number 10?
With Graham Potter as his manager, yes. I think he develops players absolutely exquisitely. We've seen that he loves to tackle, and Johnny Cantor confirmed to us when we spoke about him that he sees that he absolutely loves to tackle as well. So I think, we could see him in that deeper role. He's played there a couple of times last season, when we have been limited on the options, because I remember Mwepu being injured and Bissouma being at the AFCON. We were really struck for midfield options, and we had to just make do. But I thought he did really well there, and he played there when he came on against West Ham in the final game of the season. I wouldn't be against seeing him in that role, but hopefully we get one more option in just to shore up those midfield options.
And just prolonging that point, Kurtis, would you like to see a Bissouma replacement brought in, or do you think we've got enough on the books as it is to cover that midfield area?
I think we have enough to cover that area, but I think we should just to cover ourselves a bit anyway. I'm not sure who that could be. Most likely next week I'll hear us being linked with a player I've never heard of, which is always usually a good thing, because I think, again, our recruitment is so good at spotting these incredibly, young, hungry talent and whatnot. So hopefully we do, and if we don't, I won't be too annoyed by it. But if it comes to January and we're struggling in that area, then we can address it then. But if we don't right now, I'll be okay with it. But also, it would be good if we did.
Yeah, it can't hurt to have a bit more quality in that midfield, considering we've probably arguably lost our best midfielder. However, as you say, boys, it's been fantastic to see the likes of Alzate and Lallana getting game time. Of course, we've still got Mwepu and Moda to come back. So we're well stocked in that area as well. And if Karbovnik also is going to transition into the midfield role, it'll be interesting to see if Graham Potter feels he's suitable.
Where is Mwepu injured or something at the moment then? Or
probably
both him and Webster were left out due to precautions.
Was that COVID or something potentially? Or?
No, I don't think it was COVID. I think maybe they just felt themselves a little bit from their previous injuries.
Okay.
And we just have to manage that. And you can't risk those players in pre-season, even
for
10 minutes. So I don't think we should be too concerned.
You say that, Joe, but every time anyone says to me, "Oh, Adam Webster's got a slight niggle," I think, "Oh God, he's going to be out for another 3 months." I do like.
I was trying to be optimistic.
I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I just can't help but go, "Oh, please don't be injured again, Adam Webster," because he's such a good player. He's so good at bringing the ball out of defence, and I think we really
on his day, he's incredible. Like those 2 Chelsea performances. He was so good last season. So.
Most definitely. So just moving away from the starting 11 then, Joe, it was the first outing of our new shirt, which the club are calling crimson, but it looks not very crimson to me, but that's just my perspective. And you are modelling it so beautifully for us there, Joe. Joe, now that you've bought the shirt, how does it feel? What does it look like? Are you rating it as highly as you did when we did our review, or has your opinion changed on it at all?
It's gone down, Tom. It has. Based on the quality, seeing it up close, that this sleeve coming on from the design that we've got, I echo what a lot of other people have been saying. Is it just like you said before we started recording, Tom? It just looks like a completely different shirt, and yeah, the quality of it as well. A few of the threads on the badge are coming off, and somebody said to me on Twitter, it just feels a bit rushed. Maybe that is the case. We're in our last deal with Nike. Maybe they're not giving a crap as much as they should do. So yeah, it's probably gone down to probably one of the worst away shirts we've had in the Amex era, to be honest.
Very interesting, because my opinion's gone the other way. Because obviously, as you know, guys, I was quite negative about the away shirt. Sorry. I still maintain that it is, maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10 at best. I still have issues with the sleeve. But overall, I think up close, it does look like quite a nice shirt. It's just unfortunate that I don't think my camera, or particularly yours, Joe, when you're sitting back a bit, you can pick up that lovely pattern that we've got across the chest. But my quality, it seems to be a bit better than yours, Joe. I hope you don't mind me saying, because I've looked at my badge and actually the quality is quite good for mine. So I'm quite happy with that. And we shouldn't be too down, should we, Joe? Because at the moment, the Albion Obsessed are doing a giveaway, aren't we? So we should probably be a bit more optimistic about these shirts. So, Joe, do you want to tell the guys a little bit about what our giveaway is and how they can enter?
Of course. Everybody's got their own opinions on the shirt, and I've seen a lot of people loving it. But yeah, what we are doing. Sorry, go on, Curtis. You're going to say something.
No, I was just about to say, I'm sure the shirt you get will be of the best quality. So don't worry about that.
Exactly. So, yeah, we're doing our biggest ever giveaway. It is on our Twitter. So if you go to our pinned tweet, you can retweet and like the tweet to be entered in. If you want to give an extra entry, all you've got to do is drop a comment as to which is your favorite Albion Obsessed episode or your favorite moment of the Albion Obsessed podcast. Don't say end of season quiz.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't just copy the comment underneath yours, right? We want like the deep cuts. Give us something completely random. That would be really interesting.
Exactly
so do that.
I mean, I know our end of season quiz took us a long time, didn't it, Joe?
It did.
But come on, guys, we see you.
Yeah, we do. But no, it's an amazing giveaway, and I'm so happy that we get to be giving back to our fans and back to the Brighton community who have supported us so well. And yeah, I can't wait to announce the winner and hopefully see some smiles on some faces.
Most definitely.
Yes, because if it wasn't for you guys that watch and listen, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing still. So huge thank you from all of us here at Albion Obsessed.
You mean Joe wouldn't just sit in his chair? Where would he go?
Well, clearly he would, because he's just waiting for these. I
am quite literally stuck to this chair now. The heat has melted me into it. So yeah,
it's true. I can confirm. I went down to see him at the weekend, he brought the chair. True story. So yes, please do enter the giveaway, guys. Make sure you go and check out our Twitter feed and see how you can enter that there. But let's move on then, because it was a pretty fast start, wasn't it, Kurtis? Maupay scored within the first few minutes. It was a mistake at the back from Estoril, and Maupay showed that striking instinct, which at times was missing last season. Were you pleased to see him on the score sheet?
Absolutely. Every time he scores, I am. I know he's got it in him, but sometimes I feel like he's his worst enemy. I feel like he beats himself up about these things. So it was nice to see him mop up that little mistake and get that goal. Yeah. But when I saw it was like in the opening 2 minutes, I was like, get out of town, shut the front door, no way. So excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then Joe, he only went and did it again 10 minutes later. How good is that going to be for Maupay's confidence? Because we know he's a confidence player. So just how fantastic is that going to be for Neal to have bagged a brace in a pre-season game relatively early on?
Yeah, as you say, he scored literally like 10 minutes after the first one. Almost broke his fingers in the process, though. I saw him mention in the post-match interview. But yeah, it's going to be huge for him. As you say, he's a massive confidence player. We know how he ended last season. It can't have been a very nice thing for him to go through, but he's got my full support going into this season. I think he's looking really sharp from what we have seen of him. Let's hope that against Reading and against Espanyol, we see the same Neal Maupay that we saw in the first half. I can't wait for him to get back on the pitch and start bagging those goals again.
Yeah, let's hope he finds that form like he did at the start of last season. Another player, Kurtis, that has caught the eye of some Albion fans is Danny Welbeck. Not only because of Danny Welbeck being Danny Welbeck, but also because he is looking hench. Boy looks big. And he had a few early chances as well, Kurtis. How good is it to see Danny Welbeck up and running? Didn't score, but came close a couple of times.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, he has become such a prominent fixture for the team. I mean, setting up like assists and the like. I mean, he assisted that Trossard goal at Manchester United at the Amex, which was fantastic. But I think it's a shame that he came into his form just at the end of the season, and I hope that can carry into the start of the new season. But as you say, he's looking hench, yeah, it's just exciting. I'm glad. I'm really excited to see football start again, and I can't wait to see them all. So,
yeah, I mean, what a front line we're going to have: Welbeck, Maupay, Undav, and Ciso, who we'll talk about a bit later. And obviously Mitoma can fit in there as well. Trossard, if you want to count him as a forward. Oh, it's very exciting to see. Things didn't go particularly to plan at the other end in a moment, Joe. I called it a blunder on our group chat. However, you guys saw it more as a consequence of the pitch. And of course, I'm talking about the Estoril goal where Sanchez went to kick the ball, completely missed it, and the Estoril player just had a tap in. So, Joe, am I being harsh? Was it a Sanchez blunder, or was it as a consequence, as I say, of the poor quality of the pitch?
I think I'm going to follow Graham Potter in blaming the pitch because he wasn't very happy with it in his post-match interview. And I also want to give Sanchez the benefit of the doubt because it is pre-season. And I saw a lot of fans mention what had happened because maybe they were getting reports from elsewhere that he'd miskicked it and made a mistake. We all know that Sanchez has maybe got a little mistake in him, but I don't think we can blame him this time. And even if it was a mistake on his part, it's good to get those rusty moments out of the way during pre-season.
Most definitely. That was actually going to be my question to you, Kurtis. If it was indeed a mistake and not as a result of the pitch, do you think it's good to get those clangers out of the way early so you can just sort of get your head down and concentrate?
Oh yeah, potentially. Because really these pre-season games don't mean a huge amount. I mean, it's just obviously work out the rust, so to speak. Hopefully after a few other of these, there's 2 more friendlies, right? After hopefully he'll get it 3. So hopefully he'll get back to the Robert Sanchez that we know and love. But every goalkeeper is prone to a mistake now and again. So
yeah, of course. I mean, every player makes mistakes, but I suppose as a goalkeeper, you've got less places to hide. And you're right, Joe. 3. I forgot about Brentford behind closed doors. The first half, we saw the first half out well. I think we could have scored more. Their goalkeeper did quite well, I think, to keep the score down. 2 changes that we did see at half time, Joe, is we saw Alzate and Lallana coming on for Caicedo and Ali Mack, I think I'm right in saying. Both of whom were withdrawn because they had been playing in their international games. Was it pleasing to see Alzate and Lallana come on for some minutes? I mean, I don't remember seeing much of Lallana at all in our last pre-season game, if at all. So it was quite pleasing to see him for me. How about you?
I'm pleased to see him playing, but I just don't think he's got it within him anymore to be breaking through into our first team. I think he's gone a little bit past what we would consider his best. So that's a little bit disappointing. I was really excited when we did sign him, and I thought I think what we do have in Adam Lallana is a great head in the dressing room, and that's something I always mention is really important. Even when we had Steve Sidwell, I think we even had him on the books for the first half of our first Premier League season, which must have been massive for the dressing room, as I say. So yeah, I think he's really good in that role, and I'm delighted to see that he's still with the club and he's still staying professional into his contract. I think he's in his last year. But yeah, just going on to Alzate, last season when he was given the chance, I thought he was flawless. And he's a young player with a decent enough height in ceiling and potential. So yeah, great to see him get some minutes, and I'm loving this South American link up that we've got going on.
Most definitely. And just coming back to Lallana, Kurtis, I don't know if you saw it, but Caicedo recently did an interview on the Albion socials, and he did mention Lallana quite a lot, and he talked about how important Lallana has been in helping him develop as a midfielder. So, Kurtis, do you think that even if Adam Lallana's first team days are perhaps behind him at Brighton, do you still think, as Joe does, that he's an important player to keep around?
I'd say so. He seems like one of those sort of natural leaders. And you always hear him sort of shouting on the pitch, either him or Webster. So I think it's good to have that that guy about who's got that experience that you can go to and ask about how I can improve in this, or this. And like Joe said, he's such a professional as well. So, I don't doubt that, if he doesn't, get so much first team football this coming season, I know that he's going to be on the training pitch, he's going to be helping individuals out, and he's behind the scenes and what have you. So yeah, it's important. He serves his purpose, definitely.
And for the fans that slate him, let's not forget that this is a guy that's won a Premier League and a Champions League within the last 5 years. So that experience is instrumental in what our team are learning and trying to do. So yeah, I think if anyone's going to slate him, just remember the importance of him away from the pitch.
Yeah, and he's had a few really great performances last season too. When we needed him, he was really good at times, and we shouldn't forget that he's been a great servant to us.
I remember he was pretty decent in the Liverpool away game, and I believe he
nearly scored.
Trossard.
He nearly scored as well.
Nearly scored and assisted Trossard for the offside goal. I believe that would have won us the game. So this is Adam Lallana. He's still got the quality. It's just his form that dips and here and there. But
yeah, but imagine that you're Caicedo, you're McAllister or Alzate, young players. That's a fantastic role model to have within the team. And I'm a huge advocate of Adam Lallana. I remember watching Adam Lallana play at Southampton and then going on to play for England. And he was just such a fantastic midfielder. And as you say, Joe, when we signed him, I was genuinely really excited about that. And as I say, his first team days might be behind him in terms of being a starter. However, he's still got a lot to offer this relatively young squad. And as we say, we've got something really exciting young midfielders. I mean, Caicedo, what an exciting prospect he is. And to have someone like Lallana to learn off of, it must be fantastic for him. So yeah, I'm glad we had that little Lallana love in there, because he's a decent bloke and fantastic for the younger players around him. So as the second half went on, we saw some more changes. Undav came on, and so did Mitoma. So let's talk about that Mitoma goal, Joe. It has to be said that was a fantastic build-up play, especially from Undav, who hit a volley into the channel, and then Enciso ran onto it, did some little bit of trickery, and then put it on a plate for Mitoma to score his first goal for the Albion. Joe, tell us about that goal. How fantastic was it to see three of the new acquisitions linking up to score that goal?
Yeah, exactly what you just said, Tom. It's just so good for them to just get off the mark and be involved in a move that Graham Potter, I've no doubt, will be applauding. And it's nice to see them getting involved with the whole Potter ball analogy that we always use. So yeah, great for Mitoma, obviously, to score. There's been a lot of hype around him, especially when he performed so well for his country and then comes to the Premier League. every Japanese football fan watching him to see what he does. As I said before, it's like the Percy Tau situation. There's a lot of pressure there. So let's just hope he can keep his head on the ground, keep working hard, and get his opportunity in the Premier League. But yeah, great for Enciso to get an assist. And that move started by Undav, just, different gravy.
Different gravy. Talking of Enciso, Kurtis, we've said on the podcast before about what the right move for him is in terms of his future. He has had a bit of a barnstorming pre-season so far. Do you think Graham Potter will be tempted to keep him within the first team?
Oh, he has to. I think from the sounds of it, it does sound like he's probably going to be staying with us anyway, because he's just impressed. I mean, talking about the assist for the goal, just his footwork and his speed, and he's such a clever individual. You could just see the way the way he approaches everything. I think he's going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of players, and that's really exciting. And he's so young as well, which is he's only going to get better and better, which is crazy.
The type of player that we miss, isn't it? That directness and that the guy that's going to literally just run at defenders and put them on the back foot and make them make the decision.
That's what Tarek used to do, didn't he? But
exactly,
he sort of slowed down a bit. So
we've got Sarmiento does the same thing. I was so impressed with him when he had his debut last season. I'm just unbelievably excited to have those two fearless young players in our side. Obviously, with 5 substitutions in the Premier League now allowed, they're going to get their opportunity. So, I hope they stay with us and just wait for their opportunity to really shine.
Definitely. I mean, imagine being a defender and having Sarmiento and Enciso coming at the same time. They're just gonna, they're gonna cause so many problems. And to start with, a lot of opposition players will be like, "Who are these blokes?" But trust me, I think that after a few opportunities, they'll know all about who Enciso.
That's what excites me, because they're gonna be like, "Oh, nobody. Who are these people?" And then they're gonna be like, they're just not gonna know what's here, which is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of a lot of pundits, a lot of people that think they know a lot about football on YouTube and Twitter have judged our business so far in this transfer window as to be pretty poor, and that's because we haven't made any marquee signings. But the signings we have made, being Enciso and Adingra, who I know who's gone out on loan, they're very exciting prospects. And of course, we've seen the return, as we've said before, about Mitoma, Van Heck, who I also thought looked really good as well. These are exciting players, and I was a bit quietly concerned at the end of last season that the returning of these players might mask some poor or limited incomings in the summer. But from what I've seen of these players so far, I have to admit, as you said in a previous episode, Joe, if we had bought Van Heck or Mitoma or Undav in for like 15, 20 million, people would be getting really excited. But there are players and they're returning from loan, so it's really fantastic to see. And talking of Undav, Joe, he didn't half score a good goal, didn't he? Outside the box, lovely shot, first goal for the club. Similar to Mitoma, what a fantastic confidence boost to get that first goal over and done with so quickly.
Yeah, exactly that. And in his interview when he joined the club, in his Meet Deniz Undav interview, he said he'll shoot from anywhere. And he's proved that with one of his first opportunities in a Brighton shirt. Amazing to see. He seems like a great guy. All the training pictures that come through, he always seems to be smiling. And he's built. He's really strong as well. And I really do think he is a slightly different option to what we already have. So he's a great addition, and just another fearless guy who's just going to take to the Premier League and just take his opportunity, I hope.
Let's certainly hope so. Kurtis, just really quickly, just to sort of summarize the game then. We saw 2 players who have, our previous loan players come in and score. We saw Enciso lighting it up again. I know when we spoke to Matt, he said about you can't take much from it. But have you been excited by what you've seen so far, especially from the new boys?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how we line up. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who also gets dropped. Replaced and whatnot. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the future is bright for us at the moment. I know it, like you say, there's a lot of people, a lot of naysayers online that are like, oh, we have made all these signings and what have you, but we have this talent that we've
Thing
been.
is, with those Curtis, sorry to just cut in.
Yeah.
They'll soon be eating their words. The
Yeah.
amount of praise that Caicedo got at the end of the season from Match of the Day pundits, all online, Man United fans wishing they'd signed him instead of us.
Yep.
They'll soon be eating their words, mate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's very exciting going forward that we've got these really young, hungry talent that clearly want to play, and they care. So that's just exciting.
And talking of caring, another player that really impressed me yesterday, and also impressed me against USG, was Solly March. He hit the bar, hell of a shot on the volley. I think hit the bar in the first half. And he's looking good. And I joked in our little group chat when you sent that formation through, Joe. It's funny how Solly March is now our go-to right wing back, which is a bit mad. But
that's why I absolutely adore Solly, because he could
he's
put
so
him anywhere.
Criminally underrated.
Exactly. He will give you a shift. Even if you played him in goal, he'll give you a shift. That the work rate of that boy is just admirable. And
and it's funny, like, because I always thought it was because I'm biased because I'm a Brighton fan, right? And I said to my brother, like, what do you think of Solly March? Because he watches all the games with me. He's like, it's probably time for him to move on. He doesn't really play that well. I was like, you're watching a different game. Like, look at him. He works so hard all the time. And I think we need to put a bit more respect on Solly March's name.
Yeah, Solly's often one of the players that, similar to Pascal Gross, similar to Neal Maupay, if he has a good game, people just sort of like overlook it. And if he has a bad game, they're the first people to jump on his back.
This is the thing, though, like, and they're not the most flashy individuals, right? But they are just like boots to the ground football players. They just do what they're supposed to do, and they do it really well. So.
Yeah, I mean, I said it at the end of last season, didn't I? I'd rather have Solly March than Leandro Trossard. I've said my piece on that, so I'm not going into it again. You can at me all you like. I'm not doing it again. Check out our previous episode on that.
Hold on then, Tom. Let me just get on Twitter.
No. So, talking of transfers, as we've just done, I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the transfer saga of the summer. And there he is, just below me there. So it was announced yesterday by Fabrizio Romano, who everyone believes is the transfer guru. It was announced that the Zinchenko deal from Manchester City with Arsenal is pretty much a formality. It's been basically completed. And this leaves Manchester City open to chat to Brighton about the signing of Marc Cucurella. Now, it's worth mentioning that almost a month to the day, Fabrizio had also sent out a tweet saying, talks have begun. Tony Bloom has since, said that that's not the case. Joe, you said on our group chat that you believe that if Manchester City come in, that's it. That's game over for us. Do you still hold by that, or do you hold any shred of hope that Marc Cucurella will still be here when the transfer window shuts?
I think when all is lost, you have to hold some hope, Tom. And I do hold hope that he will stay with us. But what I think I'm trying to do is mentally prepare for the moment that he does leave us, because there is no doubt in my mind that he's going to go on to be one of the best in the world. And maybe that is me exaggerating because I'm a Brighton fan and because I'm looking at it through blue and white striped tinted glasses. But I really do believe he's got that potential to be the best left back, even the best left centre back in the world, because he is that good, especially if he goes and gets managed by Pep Guardiola. Thing is, with City, you have to be prepared that if they come in, that the player is going to turn around and say, I want to go now. I want to go and play for them, and you can't really stand in the way because there's no doubt that next season they'll be winning titles. Every player wants to win a title.
We've done it before, maybe not to the extent of Manchester City, but cast your mind back to when Dale Stephens wanted to join Burnley, and I know you'd say, "Well, but it's Burnley, Tom." But we were in the Championship, and Burnley were in the Premier League, and Tony Bloom said, "No." I do get what you're saying, and 100% agree. I hold my hands up, and I 100% agree that playing for Sean Dyche at Burnley is a bit different from playing with Pep Guardiola at City. So I know that, but I'm just suppose at the context of at the time Premier League and Championship. You're right, Jimmy.
I think I'm trying to mentally prepare for the moment that he does go, because, as I say, it's going to happen. Whether it be this window, whether it be January, whether it be next summer, it will happen. I just hope that we stand firm, and I have no qualms in thinking that Tony Bloom won't do that. But as I say, I'm mentally preparing, and I don't want to lose him.
No, we don't want to lose him. And, and I think it's worth remembering that Man City do have the financial clout to make any deal in the world happen. They do. But that doesn't mean they will. If we say, well, he's our player, he's very important to the way we play, because as we know, he can play a left back, left wing back, as an overlapping left centre back, which we've seen, especially in the last few months of the Premier League season and in pre-season so far, is very much how Graham Potter wants to be playing. So Tony Bloom can slap whatever price tag he likes on him. He's got 4 years left on his contract. I think I'm right in saying that Man City no longer have a recognised left back on their books once Zinchenko leaves. So this means that Tony Bloom can be like, well, you've got no left back. You quite clearly want him. He's got 4 years left and he's very important. I want 70 million. That's just a number I plucked out.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. If you want him, pay for him. It's as simple as that. Don't try and... We don't have to accept a low ball offer. Like, you're not going to get him for 35 million. Man City fans, get over it. All right?
Yeah.
Get over it.
What else gives me hope is how long we held on to Basuma for, because there's no doubt in my mind that there's been interest in him for the last 3 seasons. Talks of an Arsenal move for £50 million. Talks of
Villa as well.
Villa, Newcastle when they got the money, abroad, PSG, Monaco, places like that. And I hope that because the club keep transfer business very, very close to their chest. And honestly, I don't think maybe bar 1 or 2 journalists know exactly what Brighton are doing. And I love that it's that way. So all of this speculation over who's submitting this bid, how much this player's gone for, whether we want to sell this player, whether we want to buy that player, I really don't buy into it anymore, because Tony Bloom comes out and says, no, we haven't received the bid. So I love the honesty, and I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, I trust Tony Bloom. And what I will say is I saw one Man City fan saying, oh, I think 40 million is fair. Like, mate, this is a seller's market. It's not about what's fair. This is our price. You pay it or you pack up and you move on. And talking of moving on, Kurtis, it has been reported that Man City have entered in the chase for Stuttgart left-back Borna Sosa, because they might be being priced out of a move for Cucurella. That has been reported by the Scum. I'm not going to say their full name.
Like I said, it's from the Sun, so massive shovel of salt with that. But if that's the case, then whoopee, of course. But again, I'm not ruling out the potential of Cucurella going. I'm sort of doing what Joe's doing in the sense of like, if I'm like telling myself that he's going and he doesn't go, then I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. As opposed to saying he's going nowhere, and then being bitterly disappointed, So I hope we can hold on to him. I'm sure that, Tony Bloom being the savvy businessman that he is, he's not just going to let him go for nothing. So we'll just see what happens.
They don't call Tony Bloom the Lizard for nothing.
True.
And let's just hope that these reports that they are interested, City, they are interested in this other left back, that it does mean that perhaps they're not willing to pay the price that Tony Bloom has set. That's all we can do, as you say, Joe and Kurtis. All we can do is hope. But I have no doubt in my mind that this time next year, if Cucurella does stay, he will be looking at a move to one of the biggest teams in Europe. He is one hell of a player. I think, we talk about Bissouma leaving as our best player. I think Cucurella, I know different positions, but I think Cucurella will eclipse that. I genuinely think that Cucurella will leave as our most expensive sale ever.
I think that if he does stay and City's interest cools, I would love to see him help the club in signing a new deal, which would hopefully include a hefty release clause to say that if a Champions League team come in, if the team that have won the title come in, which will most likely be City, of course, then you can go for this amount, but sign a new deal so that we can protect ourselves against a future sale.
Yeah, and I think more than anything, Cucurella looks happy here. So this idea that we're going to be holding him at ransom, I mean, I know it's City, I know it's Pep, and I know all of that. He genuinely seems quite happy here, and I don't think that if we said stay another year, we'll put this into a contract that this is your release clause, and there's another clause that says if City, Barca, blah, 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 come in for you, we won't stand in your way. As long as they meet our asking, I think that he'd be up for that. Well, I hope he'd be up for that anyway.
But ultimately, this sounds bad. I'm kind of tired of just hearing about it. Like every day, it's just like personal terms agreed. Watch this space, and it's like, well, great and all that, but like nothing's been agreed with clubs, and I don't know where you're picking this fake news stuff from. Like what source? HP is it or?
What it is, Curtis, is it's simple FIFA logic where you see a team on FIFA have sold their striker, so you pick a few names and you think they're going to sign that striker.
It's just bored people, Joe. It's just
exactly that.
It's like, oh, Big Mad Andy down the pub says he knows a bloke that works at Man City, and he says, oh, we've signed in Cucurella. It's like, go away, mate, go away.
Exactly that. But I think Cucurella, to be honest, will actually end up back at Barcelona because these Catalonian players seem to use Manchester City as a stepping stone back to Spain. You think of Ferran Torres, Eric Garcia, both of them in the last season have done that. If Cucurella is going to use them, bloody use them.
Yeah, but having said that, if I was Tony Bloom, the last club I'd want to be doing business with Barcelona.
What I mean is that they these Catalonian players use a stepping stone, so they'll go to Man City, put themselves in the window.
It was more just the fact that Barcelona are an absolute shambles of a club in terms of their finances at the moment, and I wouldn't be doing any business.
I was about to say that. How are they managing to afford Lewandowski and who else was it? Another big signing they made.
They've got like Aubameyang's wages and all these, but but they won't pay that De Jong to his wages that he's owed from like COVID and stuff. That's what I mean. It's an absolute shambles of a club. And if I were Tony Bloom and Barcelona said, "Oh yes, we will pay you 100 million," I'd be like, "Do you mean like 10 million and then 50 magic beans?" But anyway. We digress. So there you have it, guys. We are up to date with all things Brighton and Hove Albion. We've talked about our most recent pre-season game. We've talked about the most recent rumours and conjecture about Marc Cucurella. We've talked about the new shirt. Joe doesn't like it as much anymore. I like it slightly more. But don't forget, guys.
Although the giveaway, the shirt that we'll be giving away to you is going to be magical and fabulous. So go and enter that.
It will. It'll be the same quality as mine, and it'll be lovely. And I was just about to say, if you do want to get your paws, your hands, your whatever on your donnies, that's what we call them up here in the Black Country. If you want to get your donnies on this new shirt behind
you know what we call them where I'm from?
Hands.
Hands, yeah. Don't be so bloody stupid, Tom.
That, to be fair, that's what we call them where I'm from, but where I live right now, I'm digressing. If you would like this beautiful orange, crimson, blood orange shirt, you can enter our giveaway by checking out our Twitter handle at Albion Obsessed. You can enter by giving us a like, share, retweet, and following us. And of course, you could also get an entry by telling us what your favourite part is. And if that isn't it, that what we've just witnessed, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Bloody hot, Tom. All right.
If you're listening to this on Spotify, go to YouTube and skip to about 45 minutes to where Tom's reading out the.
You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, you won't be
Albion
disappointed.
Obsessed After Dark.
Yeah, I was about to say something worse, but I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, let's keep it family friendly.
I think it's best that we wrap this up, Tom.
Okay. If you haven't already, please consider giving us a like, share, and subscribe. And also, don't forget to drop us some comments down below about your thoughts about the pre-season, your thoughts on the shirt, and your thoughts about Mark Cucurella. It has been a pleasure, as always, chaps. I hope you do well in the heat.
Thank you.
Joe, good luck having a baby in the heat. It's been hard.
Thank you. It's awful.
And again, Albion fans, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the lovely comments and feedback. We really, really appreciate it.
We certainly do. See you next time, kids. Take care. Drop the beat.